You're listening to the Vocabbett podcast, where I help students improve their vocabulary for the SAT, ACT, and life itself using my unique and research-backed story-based method. On this podcast, I'm sharing the best tips and tricks for a more enriched vocabulary and pain-free test day. Hello, and welcome to episode 44 of the Vocabbett podcast. I'm Erica Abbott, a former English and history teacher, the author of the young adult novel Ahead of Her Time, and the founder of the eponymously named vocabulary company, Vocabbett. We are taking a break from etymology today to do a fun little grammar podcast. This is precisely the reason I love being queen of Vocabbett. I can talk about history one day and Meghan Trainor the next. So back in one of the first episodes of the podcast, I did an episode called Are These Songs Secretly Sabotaging Your Grammar? Or something like that. And I mean, yeah, because basically every song is. But I feel like most of the time the errors are so obvious and they're done to fit the rhyme, so you know that they're errors. But sometimes songs have such esoteric errors. I don't think a lot of people even realize that these particular lines aren't grammatically correct. And because they're next level grammar errors, you don't have all of the correct impressions in real life to counterbalance the effect. And so when a sentence comes up where you actually need to use it, you've had all of these impressions from the songs and not really the correct impressions in real life. So the correct way starts to actually sound wrong to your ear. Now, before we dive in, I made this disclaimer last time around and I need to make it again. I love music, I love these songs, I have nothing against any of these artists. We are just looking at these songs from a grammar perspective. So today we're going to talk about the song Me Too by Meghan Trainor, and the line I'm particularly referencing is, "If I was you, I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too." Okay, tell me the truth. Do you know what the issue is there? And if you do, is it because you learned it on the last episode of the podcast where we did this? So this is an example of the subjunctive. The subjunctive deals with theoreticals, the ifs and wishes of the world. And that if I was, should be if I were, because was is past tense. It's not a subjunctive. I was doing something, that's past tense. But if I, that's not past tense anymore. That's not something that you did. So it's if I were. It doesn't have quite the same ring to it to say, if I were you, I'd want to be me too. But that would be the grammatically correct way to sing this song. I think society collectively forgot the correct usage of the subjunctive with Fiddler on the Roof and that song, If I Was a Rich Man, which should be If I Were a Rich Man. And then each generation kind of had a spinoff. Gwen Stefani did, If I Was a Rich Girl, should be If I Were a Rich Girl. And then there's even that song, I wish I was a little bit taller, which has like 100 uses of I wish I was, I wish I was, I wish I was. Should be I wish I were. Because I wish something, that's not past tense, right? That's not something that happened. That's theoretical. So I wish I were a little bit taller. And now Sweet Megan is adding to this list. Great song, but grammatically it's If I Were You, I'd Want to Be Me Too. Again, nothing against these songs. It's just something to be mindful of because your brain loves repetition and nothing gets stuck in your head quite as well as a song. So if you're ever in a position where you're actually using the subjunctive, those if I sentences, if I were in your shoes, if I were you, whatever, just remember it's if I were, not if I was. All right, I hope you guys have a great weekend. Be sure to explore the renovated members area if you have a chance, and I will talk to you next week.